We are live. It's international break, but a few days ago there was a full weekend of Premier League fixtures. So we're here to take a little glance back at them. There was some VAR controversy again. I think we're going to be discussing VAR controversy every single weekend. There were some good goals to be had. There was some eyebrow-raising results here and there, and some disappointment if you support some of the bigger clubs. Gonzo, how are you?
I'm all right. There's a funny geezer in the... Where is he? Over there. The other side of you.
Can you see him?
Yeah, he's...
You don't always have it open, though, do you?
I don't. He looks like a David Luiz, but not David Luiz. It's El Geezer. What's his name?
Guendouzi.
Yeah.
The reason I put him is because when I set it up, I thought, what we'll have is a third person. And I was trying to get the Fantasy League things to work, but because we're taking screenshots of our phone, they don't fit that bit over there. They don't fit it nice and neat. So you're trying to crop it, but then there's black bits. So we're going to have to work on a custom design or something, or get a claret background so it fits okay. So I thought, okay, I'll take some of the best performers, or who I thought was the best performers of the Premier League. I've got 3 or 4 players to change. And I thought this guy was the star performer from the weekend for me. I watched the second half live with Charlie on Sunday against Spurs. Then I watched the highlights again afterwards, and I thought this guy was possibly one of his best games in the Arsenal shirt, and I thought he was one of the performers over the weekend. The goal scorers get all the praise, don't they? Naturally, goal scorers get the praise, but actually I think this geezer, that way, was very, very good.
Yeah, I can't. It's a funny one, Geo, you know, when I go to the game, which obviously I did at the weekend, and then I struggle. I think I come home drunk, usually. So anything that I do put on the telly largely gets forgotten. So I then try and watch it again the next day. But then you've got to catch up with the Sunday game, which was obviously what Arsenal was. And I was delighted that Tottenham didn't get the win because they were ahead, as I understand it. And but I couldn't tell you much about the game at all. I couldn't tell you whether he had a good, a bad, or a different game. But I was sort of half watching it, bleary-eyed, hoping that Aubameyang did something to win me some fantasy league points.
Yeah, I thought it was man of match for you. Aubameyang got his goal at the end, didn't he? It was a very good game, actually.
Yeah.
Like I said, me and Charlie missed the first half. So when we went in, it was 2-1 Spurs, and the pub was very half Arsenal and half Spurs as well, which was quite good to be involved in the atmosphere, if you like. But
that sounds like a terrible pub, Gio.
No,
a terrible
good. I mean,
boozer.
we kept quiet that we're West Ham fans, but we were just sat there and spectated. But we'll be interacting with the live chat throughout the show, so if you've got any comments or questions about football or the Premier League, get them in. We don't touch on West Ham too much in this one because we do that enough on the other channel. And there, Harry Pierce is agreeing with me, saying he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League, Guendouzi. I'm half and half on that. I think he needs to be a bit more consistent, but certainly very impressive at the weekend. But Pochettino was under pressure a bit before the weekend. You know, the Friday night TalkSport were running a story that he might walk. Do you think he should walk? I mean, before that, all this tables and that were coming out over the last 15 games, going all the way back. Spurs were like third from bottom in the Premier League, if you like.
No, I think he should knuckle down and do the job he's paid to do. There aren't many managers in the Premier League that are paid more than Pellegrini, but he's one of them. He was backed by I thought he was backed. They bought Ndombele for 65 million. The other geezer from wherever it was, sort of Vigo, or I don't know, wherever it was. What's his name? De Celso, is that his name? Yeah. I don't know. Don't know, but he certainly was spent more than 30-40 million on him. So he's had over £100 million to spend. They've got a good squad, Spurs. They don't need numbers. I think he needs to crack on and get on with it. They've got a really good youth setup. And they've got a tremendous stadium. An owner who, whilst he might not be the most likeable person in the world, is clearly someone that knows what he's doing. He's building up a club there without the mega riches that maybe Chelsea or Man City have got. So, I think he's more or less had what he wants there. He knows the deal. I think he throws a little tantrum, a little hissy fit, doesn't he? By saying, "Oh, maybe they need to change the title of my job." And listen, never judge a man unless you've walked a mile in his shoes and all the rest of it. I probably would find if I was a Premier League manager, I'd throw hissy fits as well. But I just think he should probably knuckle down. I never feel sorry for a man with a Lamborghini, Geo. So I don't feel sorry for him.
Yeah, I think the only thing is spending money doesn't necessarily mean that Levy's buying the players Poch wants or even the positions he wants. And I think the big thing that would, if I was a Spurs fan, would be worrying me right now is the fact that Eriksen and Alderweireld only have a year left on a contract. So perhaps Pochettino's looking at us and hang on, two of my key players here are sort of unhappy at Spurs, and he's been benching them, then putting them in the team and stuff. And it must be quite difficult as a manager for that situation where you need to play them, but at the same time they don't really want to be at Spurs anymore and they're running their contracts down. Last time we did this I said I could see Pochettino walking because his stock's still high in the football world, and I still think that's the case. But the only thing Poch can't argue about, while he goes on about the transfers, this tables that were coming out now, while you can ignore them a little bit because of circumstances, this goes back to last season, and it's about 10 games of last season, which is before the transfer window. So he was actually in the league, he was doing crap before he never got the players he wanted and stuff. There was circumstances because of the Champions League, he focused on that and he sort of gave up points in the league, if you like. But hey ho, that's the way it is. Anyway, over to you. You're in charge of the fixtures, the results, the topics of the show. What we're doing next? A good game in the North London Derby, though. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, I've got a. I mean, there's lots to talk about. We can talk about the demise of Manchester United. You might not agree that it's a demise, but it's certainly a little bit dodgy. We can talk about the shaky ground that Frank Lampard might be on. What I would like to talk about, there's no point talking about Manchester City because they just thrash everyone. And I think it was a job-saving draw, perhaps, away to Newcastle from Watford. Pretty pointless talking about Liverpool in that respect because they're just, for the reason that I just said about City. What did catch my eye, though, and as I say, I didn't see an awful lot of everything for the reasons that I've already explained, but it was the Crystal Palace win against Aston Villa. And here's what caught my eye. When I was watching Match of the Day, Jermaine Jenas went mental. I mean, he had a right old rant. He was questioning VAR, and please do question VAR. I am not a fan of this thing. But what a strange subject to pick on it for. He thought he was absolutely incredulous that it had not been used correctly because anybody could see that Jack Grealish had been hard done by. He dived. I'm telling you, he absolutely dived. Now, for some reason, Jermaine Jenas' his rationale, his explanation for it was that whilst he was diving, he'd somehow passed the ball. And because he passed the ball, how could he dive? It was almost like they were mutually exclusive, almost like you couldn't pass and look for a penalty at the same time. It's like, does not compute, can't do both at the same time. I was absolutely crazy, actually. It was clearly a dive. I'm quite, what can you say? I'm quite unsympathetic to the dive. I think if there's contact enough to make a grown man fall over, then fair enough. I understand that when there's a contact, when shin hits shin, let's say, that you might tumble and make it a little bit flamboyant. You might give it the old Tom Daly. But there was no real contact there. He absolutely played for a penalty. I thought the referee got it right. And I didn't know what Jermaine Jenas was complaining about. It was just there were more things that day to complain about with VAR than that, I thought.
This is where VAR gets a bit awkward because you could ask 100 people and I think 50 people will say dive and I think 50 people say it should have been a goal. And this is why VAR, it can rule out offsides, black and white, but can't really get involved with things like this because it's still a grey area. I think different referees in Premier League would have given different outcomes for that, and that's where it's inconsistent. I'll come on to that in the Watford Newcastle game. Sorry, that VAR was a big call for me, but for this one, see, I think there is contact. Zaha pushes him. Okay, Zaha does give him the away you go, son. And Zaha knows himself as an attacker. He would be doing the same thing, getting in that box and hitting the deck. But for me, what Grealish does, the mistake that Grealish does for me is flicking his left leg out. That's when it becomes a dive for me. It's almost like a natural fall. It almost is a natural fall for me. But it's when he does that leg thing, I think, well, that's where you've tried to basically kick Gary Cahill or something, and Gary Cahill's no longer where you think he is. And that's where it goes from a fall to a dive. And it's just one of these strange things. I think it started off as a foul. I think it started off as a push from Zaha. The pass was good. But because he does that leg thing, I think, well, there you go. You've just gone looking for the penalty. But he doesn't look... He doesn't... I know I assume some people say, like, well, he doesn't claim the pen. That's because he flicks his leg out and doesn't kick anyone. If he kicked someone, he would have been screaming for that pen. But because he missed the defender, he couldn't really appeal for the foul because there's no contact. But he's tried to make the contact. He's tried to kick the defender. So Robert Pires, for me, was the first person in Premier League to do that thing where you run in the box and you kick someone so that you can hear the clunk of the shin guards or whatever. And down you go. He was the first one I seen do that. And so it's a funny one for me. So I know you're saying it is a dive. I'm 50-50. I don't think it was. But I think Grealish did something. I don't think it was a dive, but he certainly did that leg flick thing, which I don't know how you would describe, but he's looking for the contact.
No, I know what you mean. You're absolutely... I think you described it perfectly, actually. It is a leg flick. As someone that's had 4 children, particularly when they're toddlers and they have a little coming. I'm not talking about a dive, but they do dive. Toddlers dive all the time. But I mean, not they have to be in a football pitch. They'll do it in the lounge. One of them will take a Lego brick off the other one, and the other one will go and throw themselves to the ground. And as they throw themselves to the ground, they flick their legs backwards. These footballers have got to stop throwing toddler tantrums. Quite frankly, I think it's pathetic. And let's be fair, if someone brushed past you in the supermarket like that, you wouldn't start throwing yourself to. Well, you might. Most wouldn't. Maybe you would, Geo. I think Mike probably would in the chat there. But it's a strange thing to do. And I've got a total distaste for any of it. And the funny thing is, I often find the people that because it is cheating, don't need to. Barcelona, Real Madrid, they don't need to cheat, but they do. When almost Real Madrid, when they had Pepe and Ramos, you're good enough. You don't have to cheat. You don't have to do this ridiculous stuff. Neymar's the worst one, of course. He's brilliant. It's enough just to be Neymar. You can just be brilliant. But honestly, you don't have to take a dive like when they're doing that cheese rolling competition where they'll roll down a hill. You don't have to do that every time someone looks at you in a funny manner. So I don't have much sympathy for diving at all. Anyway, that was it. Roy Hodgson doing his stuff, though, I think, there again. Just does it, doesn't he? He just knows what he's doing. He just knows how to keep clean sheets, knows how to win 1-0. I think we're playing him in a month, Joe. I'm not overly looking forward to that one, mate, to be fair. On the okay, Chelsea 2, Sheffield United 2. Chelsea were looking good. Tammy Abrahams. I mean, I'm not totally surprised to see him getting the striker berth, but he's making it his own, Gio.
Yeah, he scored 4 and 2, but he's also scored 4 and 2 against 2 promoted sides, which is what he was doing last season. He was scoring against Sheffield United and Norwich last season as well. So he's sort of just continuing it, but with better supply. I'll like to see Tammy Abraham do well. I think he's done the right thing. He's gone out on loan. He's got his goals. He's earned his sort of chance in the Premier League, and I want to see him take it, to be honest with you. I'd far more rather see, as a football fan, I'd far rather see a young English player up front scoring goals than a 33-year-old Olivier Giroud. So he's getting his chances. He's taking them. His first goal was well taken. His second one had a bit of scrappiness to it, but when you're a striker, you need to score those as well as the half volleys and stuff. You need to be in the right place at the right time. That's what he did. So good on him. Good on Tammy. Yeah,
I mean, it's funny because it was always going to be an odd season for Lampard and for what he's done. And nobody reads anything into anything after 4 games. You really shouldn't, because I don't think it's reflective. However, after 4 games, they've got 5 points, and they've lost, drawn, won, and drawn, and they would have wanted more than that. And I think he's going to get the season, whatever happens. I think even Abramovich, as ruthless as he is, he's not stupid enough to sack Frank Lampard after 2 or 3 months. But and they're 11th, and I don't think their level is quite 11th. But it's interesting, as we know, all the best teams have 7 points after 4 games at this stage of the season. So it's nice to see us above them and Manchester United and
Yeah.
Tottenham.
But
Not that I'm counting.
credit to Sheffield United, though. I mean, regardless of who the manager is and the state of them, to go to Stamford Bridge and come from 2-0 down and get a draw.
Yeah.
These clubs that have just come up they're not here to make up the numbers, are they? They're here to really have a go at teams, and I'm just glad that we are not the West Ham of 2 years ago. If we were the West Ham 2 years ago, I'd be worried about relegation this season, because I'd be looking at those 3 promoted teams thinking, bloody hell, they're not all going back down. And I'd be looking at our team, when we had Bilic / then Moyes come in, that season I'm talking about where Slav got sacked. I'd be looking at that team thinking, are we any better than Villa, Norwich and Sheffield United? And I'd probably be thinking, not really. We're certainly not more organised, that's for sure. We're certainly conceding more goals than them. So I'm just glad that we've managed to move on in the season and a half that we have, so that we don't really have to worry about relegation. But if there's teams down there, Southampton and Palace, I would really, Newcastle, I'd be worried about these teams. And I'm glad Callum Robinson got his goals. He's like Tammy Abraham. He costs Sheffield United a lot of money, came up, and I remember saying to you about how him and McGoldrick were getting chances at Sheffield United, but they weren't taking them, and they had to start scoring sooner or later. Do you know something? I credit him with the second goal at Stamford Bridge as well. It goes down as an own goal by Zuma, because he touched it into the net, didn't he?
Yeah.
But it was all in the cross. That cross was just bang on. It was so good that
Yes.
Zuma had to touch it. Zuma just had to go for it and hope that it went wide or his keeper caught it or that, because the cross was just delicious. And I do think if Zuma doesn't touch it, I think there's a chance it goes in anyway. It's just one of them that's just bang, just hitting that far post, spinning, and it's hard. Don't know, fair play Sheffield United.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going on about their tenacity and their spirit, and you just I was going to say hope. I don't hope. I'm happy to see them go down, of course, but you sort of wonder, you can't just cling on to it. You're going to have to provide something else. You have some quality as well. Spirit by itself is not enough, as the drug dealer said to the alcoholic. So you've got to. You can't just rest on your laurels. They're going to have to provide just some additional qualities as well on that. Is that, who the hell is that geezer that you put in the? Who is that?
Who, the picture?
Yeah,
Callum Robinson, the Sheffield United guy, playing up front for Republic of Ireland tonight. And funny enough, so is McGoldrick. So they start for Sheffield United and they're starting for Ireland tonight at home to Switzerland. Tough game.
all right, fair enough. I didn't even recognise the shirt. Sneaky. Oh, I can see a badge just behind it. Anyway, there we go. Let's have a little look here. Okay, let's talk about this. Manchester United. Southampton won. Manchester United won. Do you remember what you predicted for this one?
What did I predict?
I don't know. I'm asking. If you remember. I don't remember.
I have no idea. No idea. What are you saying?
I don't know. It's just really funny, isn't it? How the mighty have fallen in that sense, and you've got a question there. Have they been pragmatic? Have they said, okay, we're going to have this buying policy of just buying some young players and hope that we'll get better in 2 or 3 years and continue this? Has that been a policy of theirs? Obviously, Sanchez went out, as we discussed as well. Is he the right man for the job? They don't look particularly good. They got rid of Mourinho for many reasons, but one of them was the football. And I look at the football that Solskjaer's playing, and it is just still sort of counter-attacking football, but without the cutting edge a lot of time. And I think James, who scored one of the goals, it looks a decent signing. He does look a decent signing, but he doesn't look like he on his own is going to be able to lift Manchester United in the top 4. I mean, I just think it's a hell of a thing. There's nothing to say they're going to get in the top 4, and I don't think if you had your last 50 quid on this earth, you'd bet it on Manchester United getting in the top 4. You wouldn't be that confident on that, and that's a hell of a thing to be without that for going on season after season. The club's changed. Geo, did you see the game?
Yeah, it's just. He's unrecognisable to the club. When I was a kid, they could buy any player they wanted. They had the swagger. You went to Old Trafford to get a draw. Nowadays, teams are disappointed if they come away with a draw at Old Trafford. They think, oh, this drops a couple of points there. But it's strange. It's really strange. You know, like you said, Sanchez has gone out. Lukaku's gone out. I think Chris Smalling, did he leave in the end? Chris Smalling was certainly heavily...
I think he did. I think someone said in the chat when we were doing a video that he had.
Chris Smalling was heavily linked to, I think it was Roma.
Roma, yeah, that sounds familiar.
So I think it was heavily linked. But the thing is, it's all very well getting rid of these players who have been letting you down, if you like, but they've not really replaced them. They've not really replaced Lukaku. I guess Martial going up there and bringing Daniel James as the replacement for him, which is fine. But Herrera left as well, and they've not replaced him, and it's just... I don't know. There's too many people in that club not doing their job, and it's not just the people on the pitch, it's the people off the pitch as well. And a lot of people will say Frank Lampard's got the poison chalice and stuff. I think Ollie's got the poison chalice. There's no way he can do what he's supposed to do there, and he'll be the one that takes the fall for it eventually. They'll say, oh well, the manager's not good enough. But the thing is, what manager are you going to get that is good enough, that isn't going to require backing? Jose Mourinho, remember, when he finished second with them, he turned around and said, that's the best achievement I've ever done in my career.
Yeah.
I finished second with this team. And he basically said, you need a whole new team. And Man United, instead of going, yeah, okay, who do you want? They went, nah, this team's good enough. Out you get if you're not happy. And actually, it turns out the guy who's won everything as a manager, turns out actually is correct. And the team that he wanted to sort of completely rehaul was required. You know, De Gea, I could be wrong, but I don't think De Gea was in the Spanish squad. I could be wrong on that though, but I've got a feeling he wasn't included in the Spanish squad. That's a massive fall from a guy that's supposed to be one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and it's not necessarily him. It's just a reflection of Man United right now that actually, if you play for Man U, you no longer get into the national side, which used to be the thing, really. I don't know. At first, I was enjoying it. I don't necessarily feel sorry, but it's just a bit different almost that we've lost. They're still one of the biggest clubs in the world, but they're not one of the best sides in England anymore. And I was speaking to someone this weekend and they said about West Ham being fifth. I said, yeah, we've got some winnable fixtures coming up. He said, oh, who have you got? I said, oh, Villa away. He was like, yeah, okay. And then I said, we've got Palace at home. He said, yeah, okay. I was like, we've got Man United at home. And he was like, yeah, you'll beat them as well. But the thing is, even neutrals are thinking like West Ham, Man U, home win for West Ham. The fear factor's gone completely.
Oh, I wouldn't. Listen, we'll do the preview. Sorry, when it comes to it, but yeah, that holds no fear. I'd take it. You get Anderson like he was playing against Norwich and all the rest of it, and Haller and all that sort of stuff. And if Lanzini's on form, we have players that would get into their team. And funnily enough, actually the hurtful players as well, the players that can do you damage. Well, really, at the moment, they seem to be West Ham players. Yeah, I don't know. Harry Maguire might get onto our bench, possibly. Yeah, if he was.
Maybe. I'm sorry, I was just reading the live chat there and trying to catch up with the live chat. What's next on the list? Who we got now?
Next on the list is Leicester, looking really good. Vardy with a couple of goals. Tielemans was actually good. Actually, could and should have scored more than once actually in that. Bournemouth struggling a little bit as well, Geo. I mean, having said that, this is after 4 games, but 4 points after 4 games. But they won their first game of the season, drawn in, lost. I won't pay too much attention, but and as I said in one of the videos as well, Norwich for all their plucky endeavour and their exciting play and having a striker that can pop the ball in, and that find themselves with 3 points from 4 games, and so it's not all about performance. And Bournemouth, correct me if I'm wrong, don't Bournemouth traditionally have a good start to the season, then they reach the 40 odd points and then tail off a bit? Yeah, they're in dangerous ground if they're going to start slowly like that. But Leicester look really good, mate. Really, really good.
Yeah, Leicester's fine start. That goal by Vardy was unbelievable. Did you see it?
I did.
His lob. That is just touch of genius.
Yes, it was.
Do you know when we were talking about Ashley Barnes in the last couple of episodes? Talked about how Ashley Barnes is underrated. Part of me thinks Jamie Vardy is a little bit as well. Not necessarily people know he's a good player, but I don't think people realise or appreciate just how good a player he is, and consistently as well. How many goals he scored over the last 3 seasons and stuff. Every year, this season when I was doing my fantasy league, I thought, well, I'll have Vardy, won't I? I thought, oh, he's getting on a bit now. A striker that relies on pace is going to struggle at some point, but he's still just running in behind defences and stuff. And that finish, though, was just the audacity of it. You need a little bit of bollocks to pull that off, because you could easily sky it. Wonderful goal, but like you said, Tielemans very lucky to stay on the pitch. Good start by Leicester. As for Bournemouth, they've had some hard fixtures. Away to Leicester, they had Man City last week as well. It's not an easy start for them. Plus they're missing, David Brooks is missing, Lewis Cook's still missing. The one thing I don't like they've done is that he switched to 3 at the back, and I don't like it for Bournemouth. When I've watched them, I just feel like I'm not sure why he's doing it. I feel like he's got such good attacking options. He's compromising them a little bit. And when Bournemouth played Man City, Ryan Fraser was like the wing back for quite a while, and I just thought, like, why is he there? This time last season, he had created the most chances in the Premier League. He was being linked to Arsenal, and you've got him playing wing back. I don't know. They'll sort it out. Bournemouth will be fine. Bournemouth will go on a winning streak of 3-4 games eventually, but they're just slow to get going, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Just on that Vardy thing. Do you remember when we was at Upton Park and obviously they won the league, and Sullivan did an interview, and he actually did the interview, I think it was with Sky, he did it in Upton Park, and he sat down and he said, we need a 20 goal a season striker, or we need to spend 25 million on a striker. I can't remember exactly. He said one of those things. And we were linked. Striker, yeah, we were linked with Jamie Vardy, if you remember, and we wanted Jamie Vardy, and we went for Jamie Vardy. At that point, I think he was 29 then, possibly. And I thought, he's too old. And I did then. And how wrong was I? There's not an ounce of fat on him. He's still lightning quick. He's a greyhound, basically. He is a greyhound. And some people just age well, don't they? Let's be fair. And I think if for someone like Wayne Rooney, for instance, by the time he gets to 29, 30, he's quite podgy, isn't he? He's quite fat, and it's harder for them to be as mobile and as good as they were previously. But Vardy is a really good player, really quick, really sharp, and you're right about the goals record. He's ever since, I think, there was possibly that season under Pearson before Ranieri did what he did. Ever since then, he's been scoring goals at a really, really quick rate for them. So, very, very impressed, actually. Very, very impressed. One of the best strikers in the league, no doubt about it at all. All I will say about Manchester City, Brighton, of course, again, almost like Norwich, they started with a swashbuckle and lots of plaudits and playing the sexy football, so on and so forth. They find themselves, struggling a little bit as well. Aguero got a couple. I saw Stuart on the train on the way to the game, and bumped into him at Waterloo Station. And when we were walking down, we were talking about fantasy football. And he said, have you changed your team? And you've done this, that, and the other. And then we were talking about this. I said, the trouble is with Man City, you don't know whether he's going to play Jesus or you don't know whether he's going to play Aguero. They're risky players to put in. But, of course, he went with Aguero. Scored 2. What I was pleased, he had the last chance saloon. Bernardo Silva was in the last chance saloon for me. I said before, I don't think he heard me, but I said before, this is the last chance saloon, Sonny Jim. Yeah. You score now, or you're out for somebody else. So
he's obviously listening.
Sorry?
He was obviously listening to you, Bernardo.
Well, I should hope so. I should hope so. I think there's 99 people watching now. He's probably one of them. But that's what he needed. He needed talking to. He needed to rocket up his what's it. And it wasn't just him. If you want to go back to Man City at any point, we can do. But this plays in quite nicely to the other game, which I wanted to, which I've got to speak about, which was Everton 3, Wolves 2. Richarlison, who was also on the naughty step. I'd had a word with him as well. 2 words with Richarlison, and he returned with 2 goals, and he's kept his place in Gonzo United, or whatever it might be called.
I sold them.
Oh!
Remember last week I sat here saying I need to get Mason Mount in my team? That's who I got rid of. I got rid of Richarlison because he's an expensive midfielder in Fantasy League, isn't he? And he was just frustrating me because I'm a big Richarlison fan. And the funny thing is, he cost me big money on Sunday as well, because when I was doing my request to bet, I needed to choose one of my three Everton players to have a shot on target. So Sigurdsson, Richarlison, and Richarlison hadn't had a shot on target in the 3 Premier League games before it. No shots on target for the season. Then there was Iwobi, but Iwobi's price was slightly shorter than Sigurdsson and Richarlison, so I ruled Iwobi out. So I thought, okay, Sigurdsson takes a pen. Sigurdsson's been hitting the target this season, so I went with Sigurdsson. Obviously, Richarlison and Iwobi scored, and I lost my bet because Sigurdsson never had a shot on target. So he's well and truly done me over this weekend, Richarlison. But for the football, though, Everton, they're so difficult, to understand, aren't they? They look good 1 minute, and the next minute they're just shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. I mean, Jimenez scored from a long throw. It was that simple, just threw it in the box and he headed it in. Took a boot in the face for it though. But then say that, Wolves, are they struggling because of Europa League football? It's difficult to say, but Connor Cody's dodgy pass to Patricio, which was Richarlison's first goal, it's not something you've seen him doing last season. Bowley got sent off for just lazy. At the very end, he knew it was a red card as soon as he'd done it. It was just a lazy thing to do. It was almost like, I can't be arsed anymore. I'm just going to knock you off the side of the pitch and get sent off. And so I think it's starting to show a little bit with mental fatigue more than physical fatigue, if that makes sense. I think they're just... He's not rotating. I've been keeping an eye on his squads on Thursday nights and Sundays and that, and he's rotating some of the players, but not all of them, and not many of them. He's got 3 strikers, 2 striker positions. He's got 3 strikers. He's got 4 centre midfielders to go into 3. He's got his wing backs he moves about. But Connor Cody and Bowley are not getting changed. They've been consistent throughout, and he's got Bennett for the league and Valero for the Europa League. So that's the only centre back. So they've just not got a big enough squad, or if they do, he's not using it. And when the group stages really get going, I would fancy your chances against Wolves in the Premier League. You want to play Wolves on a Sunday after they've had an away game in Europa League, and I think you'll win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Everton, you're right. It's hard to judge. It looks like a sexy time for Everton at the moment. But then I think in the next game they've got Bournemouth away, and you could very much see actually Bournemouth with another couple of weeks getting Brooks back, or somebody, or one other player, then reverting back to their 4-4-2 or doing what they're doing. And it would not be the biggest surprise in the world if you got your phone beeped at 4:45 and you saw that Bournemouth had beaten Everton. You wouldn't be surprised. That wouldn't surprise anybody. So it can go either way with them, really.
I think we need Wolves to do well, though. As West Ham fans, we need Wolves to do well in Europa League. And it's not just because of UEFA coefficients or anything like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sort of impacting our impression of playing in Europa League. Because if we and Leicester and Everton are serious about it, the only thing you've got to compare to is who was in the Europa League last year. If you're going to look at Wolves struggling in the league because they're in the Europa League, you're yourself, you're one of those people who you're just not keen on it, whereas I really want to be in Europa League. And when Wolves are struggling, it's hard to really argue against you, because they are almost proof that if you play Europa League, you are going to struggle a bit in the league. And it's difficult because you almost need Wolves to have a really good campaign, be okay in the Premier League, so people like myself can turn around to people like yourself who perhaps aren't keen on Europa League and say, look, you can do it. It is possible to do it. It just takes a little bit of this and of that. I do think we've got a stronger squad. We've got a bigger squad than Wolves. But we're not in Europa League. Wolves are. They're the rule of thumb right now, Wolves. And they're sort of showcasing to the rest of us what it's like. And at the minute, it doesn't look like you're not getting a very good vibe off it just now.
Well, it can be done, because Fulham showed it can be done, and Middlesbrough, I believe, also got to a semi-final, possibly against Sevilla when McLaren was in charge. But there are far more examples of it not working.
Did Fulham not get relegated that season, though?
Did Borough? Not sure, mate. Not sure. He had it. Yeah, sorry, Kara.
That's because I think Fulham won the cup. got relegated and played in Europa League while in the Championship.
I'm not
Or was
sure
it
about
Wigan?
that.
Someone did it.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was that. They were in the Premier League during. I think they had Zamora up front, as I remember, when they got to the because they got to the final as well under Hodgson, and they did really well, really well. But there are far more examples of it not working. There are far more berries last season. A big one I remember is George Burley, a compatriot of yours, was manager of Ipswich, and they had done wonderful. They had a player called Finidi George, his name was, really well. They looked like they were, there was a point where they looked like they could possibly win the Premier League, and they qualified for that, and they did get into whatever it was called then, just the UEFA Cup or whatever, and they did get relegated. It absolutely impacted them. So it can go either way. But the stats would suggest that you will struggle if you are a sort of medium-sized club. I mean, clearly, look at the finalists last year. I think if you are a club with a big squad, you're going to be absolutely fine. But yeah, look, it's funny. It's an odd one. It's an odd one. I remain to be convinced. I would happily, if we qualified by winning the cup, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah,
but because it's had a trophy behind it. Funnily enough, there was somebody on. So it must have been Talk. What's the only thing that was on in the van? And he said it was Perry Groves said he would rather Arsenal finished fourth than England won the Euros, and it's that age-old argument sort of thing, and it's just a funny, how you look at it. And I remember, and I was listening to it, and I thought, finish fourth? Well, that's crap. Because if you said to me, what would you rather, West Ham win the FA Cup or England win the Euros, I would pick West Ham. I absolutely would. I think if England won the Euros, whilst it would be very good and very nice, I think I would enjoy the moment. I think if West Ham won the FA Cup, because of what we do as well, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't shut up about it. I just, it would sustain me in joy for a long time. It just seems, I don't feel like I've waited all my life for England to win something. I feel like when a big tournament comes around, I hope that England will win something. I feel like I've waited all my life for England to win, for West Ham to win. So I was born in '74. So whilst I did, I remember being taken around to my nan's to watch the FA Cup at 1980. But it's not, I was 6. It's not a massive memory for me, if you know what I mean. Although I vaguely remember the day. So, anyways, why have I drifted? Why am I talking about this?
Don't know, but I would pick West Ham over England as well.
I'm sure you bloody would.
But do you know something? I would pick Scotland over West Ham.
Would you? You dirty, shortbread, whiskey drinking, battered Mars. That's a shocking thing to say.
I think that's the way it should be. I think football fans should always pick their country. I think you should be picking England over West Ham as well, personally. I think it's the way it should be in football. I think international should always come first. I think your nation should always come number one. Don't get me wrong, Christ, I'm sitting here waiting to see Scotland qualify for you. Like, we were at the World Cup in '98, but I was like in primary school. I didn't know what was going on. I remember watching the games. I remember watching John Collins score a penalty against Brazil, but that's it. I didn't understand it. I don't understand what the World Cup was or that. But I would pick Scotland because that's what you're supposed to do. Your nation should always come first. There's probably Americans watching this. I think they should be picking USA. There's probably Australians watching this. They should be picking Australia. It has to be. You should always pick your nation, and then that's the way I think it should be in football.
Yeah, well, there we go. Not for me, as you guessed. Not for me at all.
One more game. I think there's only one more game. Newcastle.
Burnley. No. Oh, okay. There's Burnley, Liverpool.
Oh, Burnley, Liverpool.
Yeah,
well,
okay. Liverpool won 3-0.
The only thing interesting about that game, because it was standard, was Mo Salah not passing, wasn't it? Did you see Sadio Mane kicking off about it?
No.
Yeah, like a couple of times in the game, Salah could have passed, but he didn't. He shot, and it was tame efforts. Okay, and the second time, Mane was like wide open. He was on the penalty spot with no one around him. Salah had about 3 people around him. He took the shot on, but it was about 3. I think it was 3-0 Liverpool at this point, and Mane had already scored. Firmino had scored, and Salah hadn't. So he took the shot, and Klopp subbed Mane off. And Mane was going mental at Klopp. He was on. Milner was like not restraining him, but he's putting his hand across Mane's body as if to just chill out. Then you could see Firmino squeezing Mane's leg, and I think Firmino was basically saying, "Doesn't pass to me either, mate." But yeah, it was just. I just thought it was interesting that because when you watch the game, Salah doesn't pass that often. But the thing is, he's so good at scoring that usually you can excuse him for not passing. But yeah, so that was an interesting. But the Newcastle game against Watford, this is VAR again for me. Did you see Newcastle's goal? Equaliser. The ball come in and it hit someone in the arm, fell to Shar, volleyed it home. Okay. Now for me that should stand. But if you remember on the opening day of the season, Wolves scored against Leicester. The ball hit Bolly on the arm and someone scored, and it got ruled out because the new rule is if it hits anywhere on the arm, but the Newcastle goal stood. It hit the Newcastle player in the arm. It's just inconsistent. Wolves had a goal disallowed for it, but Newcastle's one stood, and it's just how can you have two? These scenarios are so similar, late goals. One was up to win it, one was to equalise, but it was from a cross, hit someone in the arm, both accidental. The player knew nothing. The Newcastle guy knew nothing about it, but the rule is if it hits you, it doesn't go. It doesn't count. So it's just this is what annoys me about VAR. It's the inconsistencies, and we've only had 4 games this season, and there's about 10 instances you can go back and say where VAR got it wrong. Earlier against Norwich City, we've watched it back since, haven't we?
Yes.
Remember in the ground, we were seeing what was going on. Spoke about it in the review because we felt there should have been some sort of VAR thing. There was nothing. Seen it back, Stonewall penalty any day. Match day 4, and already there's 2 or 3 instances every weekend that VAR is getting wrong, or A and B. It should be the same decision, but it's not. It's inconsistent, and it's just. I think that VAR is not the problem, though. It's the rules and the people behind VAR. If it was done right, I think it would be good. But it's not being done right. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't got much opinion on that because, well, I didn't see it, so there's no point me talking about it. And there's no games coming up in the because we're in an international break. So, listen, we'll go with questions in a second. You've got questions. Before we go to that, there's a couple of things that I want to discuss. Number one, we better deal with the fantasy league. Okay, Mike Manera, who was back this Monday, has hacked. I'm sorry to report, he's hacked the Hammers Chat Fantasy League, and he's photoshopped his team to make it look like he's got loads of points. But I've got to tell you, it doesn't matter because I've hit form. I have hit fine form. I got 73 points, and I managed, I think, to climb from 950th to about 890th. So I'm on the way. I'm on the climb. It's going up. Richarlison has come good. Haller is starting to come good. Aubameyang scoring. Bernard Silva has started to score. I can't even remember who half the other ones. I'm getting clean sheets. David De Gea is about to get a sack. Not only is Spain dropping David De Gea, I'm booting him out of Gonzo Rovers, and it's all ending. It's all ending anyway. So that's that. So congratulations to whoever is in second place in the league behind that cheat and that scoundrel, Mike Manera. He'll be back on Monday to gloating in disguise with his Russian correspondent. Anyway, that's enough of that. Come on, I know. Listen, I'm changing the rules here. Your Dean Ashton interview, okay? Yeah. There we go. That's what I'm discussing. Did you notice? Well, did you watch it back?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you notice there was a every so often?
No.
Did anyone else notice? Because every so often there was a little bit. Every I don't know, every 10 minutes. Were you trumping, or was there a horn, or was it timed?
Dean Ashton, I said Dean Ashton. Charlie thinks it was Dean Ashton's phone vibrating.
Oh, okay. Fine. Listen.
Because it was on a table. He was on his phone and he was on the table because he said he put it down. He said, "Is this okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." Then of course Charlie messages me. Yeah, the interview was good, but why is Dean Ashton not in the centre of the? Go away, Charlie. Leave it out. But yeah, it was Dean Ashton. It was Dean Ashton's phone vibrating. I mean, he could have put on airplane mode for us, but obviously not. But yeah, Charlie complained to me because he wasn't centred in the shot, and I said, "Stop really my job, Charlie."
It's very nice. Charlie's got to have an eye on these technical things. I thought you were treading on a duck or something. Anyway, it was wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know you wouldn't have brought it up yourself, so I'm going to bring it up because I know people will want to talk about it. I know it might not be the time or place. I know you're not going to bring it up in a cup of tea, but I couldn't have done it because I talk too much, quite frankly, as well. And I just thought you really. It seemed heartfelt, and the whole thing was good. The whole thing was very, very good, and you got interesting things out of him, which gave interesting answers. Things like the Danny Gabardon and the stuff, the Craig Bellamy and the injury stuff was great. But I had to watch it in 3 parts because I've had a mental few days, and I got to the last bit. Near the end, and you've done such a good job, and I say this now. I know I've told you privately, but I'll tell you publicly as well because you should know, and you deserve all the praise that you're going to get in the chat and everything you've had online. You allowed him to open up, you let him open up, and I think you did yourself proud, you did Amaschek proud, and you did him proud as well because I thought he came across and he spoke honestly, and there was a bit. I got to say, I felt a twinge of nothing sexual. I felt a little twinge of not sadness or something, but I felt sad. It made me when he said about when he did the overhead kick and the crowd was singing his name and his children were crying, and I know what that feels like because I often make my children cry. But I just thought. I don't know. It was nice. It was nice. It was a nice moment, if you know what I mean. I thought, yeah, well done. Bloody good job, Geo. Bloody good job.
Thank you. I do my best. But when he first came on, I want to do a video with you eventually, almost like a cup of tea, but looking back at his interview and the Matt Jarvis one as well, because there's still.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
No, but when he came on at the start and we spoke for about, the thing is I told him it would be 45 minutes the whole thing, so he stayed for about 15-20 minutes all in longer than he was supposed to as well, so he spoke for 5-10 minutes at the start. I would have liked to have spoke longer, but I was very like, well, if I've only got 45 minutes, I would rather have 45 minutes of recording please than a 10-minute chat, a half-hour interview and then another 10 minutes or whatever. So we got on with it pretty quick. But I felt quite comfortable with him, even when he first came on, because I said something to him, but I said it with Matt Jarvis, I said it to Dean Ashton as well. I said, I bet you weren't expecting this accent. And Dean Ashton said, oh no, I was, because I watched the Matt Jarvis one. He says, oh, I know roughly what you can ask me. But I was like, nah, not really. I said, Matt Jarvis is a lot different to yours. So he started laughing, and I felt comfortable with him, and I told Charlie about the Bebo thing, and we almost made a bit of a joke that I do to try and get that in the interview. I do to try and tap Dean Ashton about the Bebo. So I was sitting there, and I said, Charlie said, only do it if it's like you can do it. Don't just stick it in. I said, yeah. But then Dean Ashton obviously bought the goal. I thought, I'm going for it. I'm going in with the Bebo thing. But at the very start, I just thought it was quite funny because. Just the second question I asked him, I said about how he joined us in January and you missed the FA Cup game against us with injury. You could just see his grin coming. You could see him thinking, what are you to ask me here? But I wasn't going to stitch him up and say, were you injured? Because we all know the answer. No, you weren't injured. So
a wink and a nudge was enough. Absolutely.
Well, someone said to me, you you should have asked him how much compensation he got. I thought, well, what's the point in that? He's not going to tell us, is he? I thought there's no, we don't need to know how much compensation. Like, it would have made the interview any. It might have been interesting if he turned around and said, £5 million. We might have all went, bloody hell. But that would have been it. But so I thought there's no point risking jeopardising him and getting pissed off with me pretty quickly as well. And he could have shut down the interview there and then said, see you later, I'm off. But it was good. I thought it was honest. He was more honest than Matt Jarvis, but Matt Jarvis is still in the professional game and trying to get another club and stuff. So you can tell the difference between them. Whereas Dean's got, I don't want to say nothing to lose, but he doesn't really, because when I spoke to him afterwards, he stayed around for about 10 minutes after, and we were just talking about football. He was asking if I watched Norwich and stuff, because we were away to play Norwich. So then I was able to say, oh yeah, I like this player, that player. I think he was, I don't want to say impressed by my knowledge of Norwich players, but I think he was happy to have some sort of conversation about Norwich. But he was saying that, like, he's never had work from West Ham, like at the London Stadium, but he's always asked from Norwich City to go along and do the corporate lounges and stuff. And I felt a bit sorry for him in that, because you can tell he loves West Ham. You know, at the very end, he was saying about how he never felt that from Norwich, but he's still working with Norwich. You know, he's not been to the London Stadium or that. So, you know, I invited him down to join us on the boats and his kids. So I think he appreciated it. So yeah, I enjoyed the interview. That's the main thing, and people enjoy it, which is really good. And there's one or two and we're trying to get lined up for the next one, and hopefully people enjoy that as well. It's the main thing, and it's why we do this stuff, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah, absolutely. But I'm sure they will enjoy them. But yeah. If he does come down the boats with his kids, though, just everybody can't start singing "There's Only One Dean Ashton" or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, very good though.
I'm just glad because, as you know, I get very anxious about these ones because I say to someone that reviews of this video, I'll say what I want because it's my opinion. It's right. It's my opinion. But the interview, you're responsible for extracting their opinion. So if your questions are wrong, it's going to be crap. But also, you could miss something as well. Like, if you miss something that's pretty major, everybody's going to go, why didn't you ask about this? And you're going to think, oh, bollocks, I've messed it right up here. So yeah, it's a relief. It's a relief. Some questions from people on YouTube. We've got a lot of West Ham ones, so we're going to leave them. And we'll try and do a cup of tea maybe next week or something. Even if it's just like a West Ham question, cup of tea, we'll skim through some stuff because there's quite a few. Metacore 95, which, have you seen any new players to the Premier League that has impressed you so far? Well, Sebastian Haller is the one you're automatically going to think of, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't. Not often. Let me have a little look down the. I don't want to dodge. I don't want to dodge the question. Well, I'll tell you who does stand out, sickeningly so, is Manchester City's defensive midfielder, who they got from Flaming Atletico Madrid. We were all hanging our hat on the fact that once Fernandinho buzzed off or got old or whatever, that they would suffer and they'd become a bit worse. But they seem to have found someone, pretty damn good there. I thought Joe Linton looks very good for Thingy when I've seen him as well. I mean, there's a stack of players at Norwich who I think we've already mentioned a lot of them numerous times as well. And the geezer at Man United, what's his name? The Welsh winger, James. That's it. James looks good as well for all their woes and all their trials and tribulations. Mings, although he's played here before, has obviously looked good as well. Many. Sorry, I don't know the question was coming, but yeah, there's 4 or 5 there.
Ceballos at Arsenal. I think he looks unbelievable. He's just so good whenever he gets the ball. He's difficult to get the ball off. He can take on 2 or 3 players with 2 or 3 moves, and he's really enjoyable to watch, I think. Trezeguet at Villa, he impressed me at the African Nations. I've been keeping an eye on him. He's doing okay at Villa. He's not hit the ground running yet. I don't think we've seen the best of him, but he's looking He's looking tasty. Wesley's looked okay in the last couple of games as well for them. Yolenton at Newcastle's looked okay in the last couple of games. It's quite difficult because there's only 4 games in, so I've only seen so many teams play 90 minutes so far. Everton, not really. Keane's not really been given a chance. Delph's only just come into the team. He's played 1 game there. I don't know. We'll ask this question again in a few weeks and you get completely different answers. The only other one that's not a West Ham one, well, there's 2. Nick Craven, this will be for you. I don't know the answer to this. I can't answer it. Who's better, Steve Smith or Ben Stokes?
I mean, Steve Smith is a force of. He's not a force of nature. He has the constant. He's got such. They're different. Okay, Ben Stokes is a force of nature. Ben Stokes is. I've been to not this Ashes. Been to another Ashes. I've seen Ben Stokes play live as well as Steve Smith. Ben Stokes is a force of nature. He's prodigiously gifted. He's strong. He's fast. He's got all those things. Steve Smith is a cold assassin-like player. Very, very calm. Very composed. Very skilled. Steve Smith's record. Steve Smith is the best batsman in the world at the moment, and probably for quite a while, maybe since Tendulkar, something like that. But Ben Stokes is box office, if you know what I mean. Steve Smith goes about his business. It's not the most thrilling thing to watch in the world, particularly if you're England. I mean, it's not. He's not Jacques Kallis, if you remember. He's not like that. He's not Gale for the West Indies. He just goes about his business and he scores runs. I'm trying to think of a boring player that's very effective in football as a comparison. If you like, he is in Formula One terms. He's Alan Prost. He gets the job done lap after lap after lap after lap. Ben Stokes, Milner. James Mill, but better. You know, Ben Stokes is not ever going to be as consistent, but every so often you'll see some force of nature, flamboyance, and he'll just he'll grind you down. Ben Smith will Steve Smith will grind you down. He'll win the game day after day, hour after hour after hour. Ben Stokes has got the ability to change the course of a game very, very quickly and have a massive impact. So, that's my thoughts on that.
Jazza asks, what goes in the bowl first, cereal or milk? Who puts milk in first?
Cereal? What? You can't.
What do you put in first? Cereal, yeah.
I don't. Cereal, of course. I can't even imagine that you'd put. That's a bit like putting milk next to the tea bag before the water. But worse. That's not right. Who said that, Jazza?
Yeah, I
got my eye on you, Jazza.
Unless you're having a second bowl of Cocoa Pops, and then the leftover chocolatey milk, you put some Cocoa Pops in. I think that's excusable.
Just before, Len, what do you mean? So Len has asked, how much sports streaming do guys watch? What do you mean? What's he mean?
But anyway, let's take the questions. We'll take the questions, then we'll bugger off. Mike Minard, our first manager to get sacked.
The Dewberry one. I said it at the start of the season. The Watford one still, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to switch to that. I might copy now. I think they've had a bit of a crap start to the season, haven't they? Gracia.
Hold on. Darren Hutchinson says, shut up. I think he's talking to you, Geo.
Yeah, probably. Harry Pierce says, which one Premier League player would improve us the most?
Ooh. Okay, it's got to be a central midfielder, I think. Can't have said that. It'd be a fullback. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take that Cancelo geezer. I like him. Yeah, that'll do, mate.
Cancelo, the Man City player.
The right back, yeah. I think we need a right back. I think he's wonderful. I think he's a wonderful player. Actually, having said that, I think actually, believe it or not, Wan-Bissaka may well. I'd have taken him anyway. Yeah, it'd be someone's right back.
I'm surprised at that. I'll go for Van Dijk.
Oh, all right, fair enough. Yeah, you win. You win. Neville, Magnum, for goodness sake. Magnum private investigator.
Ben
Higgins and all that.
Ben Davies, what do you think of the winter break the Premier League is bringing in this season?
Don't mind it because they're staggering it. So, you lose half the teams have a break while the other half play. If they were going to do it anyway, then that's the way to do it. So, don't mind at all.
I think it's the right way as well. I think it's a good compromise. I think it's not really a break though, is it? One weekend off. The players are still going to be made to train and stuff. It's just you just don't have a game. It's almost like the FA Cup 5th round and you've been knocked out already. It's the same thing, isn't it? You just don't have a game. That's all. So it's not a big deal to me. Canning Town. Your lens replied. Anything, okay. Amazon Prime and dodgy ones, or do you still watch on TV?
I'll show you next time I see you, Len. I've got this app on my phone. It's just wonderful. It's got everything on it. I mean, I've cancelled a lot of stuff since I've had this app. To be fair, I'll show you. I'll hook you up, son. It's so good. It's not just on the phone. I've got it on the Fire Stick and all the rest of it. It's such a good app. I've started just in terms of normal telly. I've just started Mind Hunter. That's it, isn't it? Mind Hunter. But yeah, sports. Yeah, mate. I got a really good app, mate.
Yeah, I can't tell you last time I watched TV. Peaky Blinders, actually. Sunday at 9. I'll watch Peaky Blinders live. Apart from that, there is some things when it's on TV I want to watch it there and then. Peaky Blinders, Homeland, when that's on the telly, I like to watch it day and time, sit down and watch it.
Have you not got out of? I mean, as someone, because obviously I'm older than you, but even I have got out of the habit of waiting a week to watch something. I find the very idea now offensive. Where you do that, you're waiting a week to watch the next Peaky Blinders. You don't mind.
But I have to watch it live because of people on social media and stuff.
Of course. Okay,
so
fair enough.
If you don't watch it, it's going to get ruined for you, probably.
Yeah,
You're probably going to get it ruined. So you need to watch it live, I think. And but it's minimal the amount of stuff I watch on telly now. To be fair, I think I've almost ran out of stuff on Netflix. I struggle to find anything to get going. Mindhunter I watched ages ago. I know the second season's come out, but I found myself coming off and on Mindhunter. I'd watch an episode and then I'd go back on and would say continue watching. I think, oh yeah, I'll watch the next one. But I never really got really into it. Not like Unabomber or The Money Heist. When I watched the first episode, I thought, I want to watch the second one.
Is it Unabomber's good?
Unabomber's amazing.
Okay. I think it was you. You watched Ozark, actually. I think, it was you. You recommended it to me.
It was okay. Actually. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10.
I liked Ozark. Yeah,
first season was an 8 out of 10. Second season was about a 6 out of 10. So.
But it is. I mean, the thing is, a lot of this stuff, their bar has been set so high. Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and as Peaky Blinders, many others. There's so many top quality things you can watch. It is hard for, I think, these other things that come out. And actually, you've got to think, actually, a 7 out of 10 box set is still a pretty good box set. Do you know what I mean? It's just unfortunately there have been 3 or 4 sort of 9 and 10 out of 10s, which raise it right up. But it is tougher stuff to watch. But do you watch any documentaries on Netflix?
I watch dramatizations of documentaries, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I won't watch David Attenborough crawling around a field telling me about an insect, for example. That's not for me. But do you know when they do like Making a Murderer and The Staircase and things like that? Unabomber's sort of like that because it's based on true stories. So it's like a drama of a true story. I watch that kind of thing. But I'm aware it's sort of enhanced for the viewer. But rule of thumb, it still goes along with what really happened, doesn't it? So I'll watch that stuff. Why? What are your way to recommend?
No, I watched loads of stuff. There was 2 recent ones that really stuck out. One of them was I can't remember, but it's about people who believe the Earth is flat. I can't remember the name of it, but really interesting. I mean, these people really do believe it, and the interviewers are quite good. What's the geezer's name? Farouk. Farouk's got an interesting style, Louis Farouk, because when he's so inoffensive, he's so calm. quite radical people open up to him. Nutcases will open up to him, for instance, because he seems like that's a wonderful style of interviewing to have, to be no threat. And people don't answer. So you can't see the interviewer in this thing, but clearly the people that have been interviewed don't feel a threat. They don't realise they're being mocked. They're probably not being mocked at the point of interview. But it's crazy, and there's this whole... Mate, there's massive podcasts and YouTube channels of people who get millions and millions of followers who talk about the flat earth theory. That was really interesting. And there was another one which was really good, which was Bob Lazar and Area 51. About a guy that claimed to work in Area 51 and UFOs and all the rest of it, which was, there's some good documentaries on there, really, really, really good.
We'll have to do a video like this, just on stuff with
yeah, happy to.
I remember saying to Gonzo ages ago, when Madeline McCann thing came out on Netflix, I wanted to discuss it. I was like, this is what I'm talking about, that kind of documentary thing. I really get into. I really like it, and I jump straight in. I think, I'm having a bit of this. The Maddie McCann one I got into quite a bit. We'll have to do it one day. There was some questions, but I think we've missed them.
Hold on, so just before you do, just while he's there, Paul Nice says Ali G's the best interviewer. I'll tell you what, Sacha Baron Cohen's really good, because his interviewing style is with Ali G and Borat, Bruno. The point is, these people are idiots, and you don't realise it's someone playing a character. So again, people open up to him because they think this guy's an idiot. Ali G's an idiot. This guy Borat is an idiot. Nice, I like to meet you. And he's doing all this sort of stuff, and people, they sort of reveal their character. So I think it's a really, really clever way how he gets these people to open up, and it's funny. I do think it's very funny. Sorry, mate, what was you going to say?
Yeah, let me just scroll. Harry Pierce says, which player will be the best player this season outside the top 6?
Well, I still think let him settle into it. I still think Wilfried Zaha has the ability to do that anytime he wants to, because he's that talented. I've got to say, though, if we carry on the way we're going, I'm going to sort of stick with I didn't particularly predict this, but I do think Lanzini has every possibility of showing he's the best player outside the top 6. I think if he hits stride and stays injury-free, I think it's going to be a nightmare for teams.
It's difficult to call, really, that question, because early season predictions, you've got to be looking at us and Leicester and thinking about someone from one of those teams. And Lanzini's been the best player. For those tuning in, he's created the most chances in the Premier League this season, apart from Kevin De Bruyne.
Who has?
Lanzini.
Has he really?
Yeah, only Kevin De Bruyne has created more. And I think De Bruyne's on 16, Lanzini's on 14.
Actually, Harry Kane could well be the best player outside the top 6.
Way! I was thinking about saying Paul Pogba, to be honest with you. I was going to say Paul Pogba for that one. Top goal scorer this season outside the top 6. Well, for me, best player outside the top 6. You know something? I'm going to say Sebastian Haller. I do think it'll be him.
Well, I'd love it too. No slight on Haller. I think Jamie Vardy's got every chance of not only being the top goal scorer outside the top 6, but the top goal scorer. It just depends on how much Pep rotates Aguero and Jesus.
See, the thing is, because players have already got goals, it sways you a little. Jamie Vardy's been scoring. Ashley Barnes is banging them in. Pookie's got 5 already, and then Allier's got 3 already. It's those 4 for me, and that's without considering Moise Kean getting going at Everton and Jimenez at Wolves. So I'm going to say there's something. I'm going to say Ashley Barnes. I just think he's in form. I think he's taking off. Ashley, he's in form. He should have been in the England squad. The one that's just happening now. Jesse Lingard's in there. Ross Barkley's in there. They might be better players than him, but they've done crap this season. They've been awful. Both of them have been awful. So for Southgate's, I pick players on 4. Well, not really, because one of the top goal scorers in the Premier League at the minute is English trying to play for Austria. Is Ashley Barnes, you've ignored him, so you can't take the high road and then pick Jesse flipping Lingard in your team. James Gunn's asking what I'm saying. The unit bomber or the uni bomber? None. UNA bomber. UNA bomber. I'm not going to give it away because this happens in the start of the first season. He sent
the post. Yes.
He posts a bomb.
Yes.
And this is in America back in, I don't know, the 70s or something, in the 80s maybe. He sends a bomb in the post. Kaboom. Police go, let's find him. But there's nothing to trace him with because it's blown up. And because it come through the mail, there's no CCTV and stuff. So it's all about how to find who did the bomb, and I think it's fantastic how they got him. It's based on a true story. I think it's brilliant. I think it's really good. Go watch it and come back in like 3 weeks, and we'll do a show on series on Netflix and stuff, and we'll give you a warning as to what we're going to discuss. So if you've not watched it, turn it off and go watch it and come back. But Unabomber, UNA Bomber, it's on Netflix. Go and watch it. Is there anything else you'd like to? There's some West Ham stuff coming. We'll keep that for next week. We'll do a thing. We've been live for more than an hour, so is there anything else you would like to discuss, Gonzo?
Yeah, I just want to say to Ben, he's asked racism in football, why is it not being taken seriously by football authorities? I'll tell you, Ben, we will discuss racism on this channel. We have done it many times.
Did you see it?
I know about the Lukaku thing.
Yeah, that's everybody's.
Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm happy to discuss it. I just, it probably deserves more than, but it deserves more than a 20-second, sort of comment at the end. We could talk about that for ages. What's that, mate?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point. He's asked about the authorities not taking it seriously. That's a different subject. That is the fans. They've let their all I would say about that is. We are meant to be, both football fans, and I think as humans we are anyway. I think we're quite tribal. It's why you get all this stuff and globalization. People like to be like their identity in ever smaller groups. It's why we have the conversation about whether we want, England to win the Euros or West Ham to win. We quite like things, and I think from a sort of football tribal perspective, I mean. You almost, it sounds silly, but you almost expect other people's fans to be dodgy, if you know what I mean. But I think for Lukaku's been badly let down by his own fans. I think I don't want to say the club in case it was wrong, the opposition. I don't want to label a club as racist that aren't, but whoever the opposition were, that when he was taking a penalty, weren't he? And they were shouting racist things at him. You would at least expect the support of your own fans. And for his own fans of the club he's joined to come out and defend the opposition fans and not defend their player and not back their player, taking racism out of it, I think he must feel totally let down. He must feel quite isolated out there because he probably doesn't feel he's got the backing of the Italian authorities because they don't take it seriously. That UEFA don't take this stuff seriously because you get a little slap on the wrist, you get fined. I think Nicholas Bentner got fined more for flashing some advertising on his boxer shorts than you will get for racism. They don't take it seriously. He probably thinks Inter Milan don't take it seriously. The UEFA don't. And probably the final kick in the teeth is that his own fans, people are meant to be supporting him. And you heard from Dean Ashton about fans chanting his name. The people that should be having songs about Lukaku. They should be singing how Lukaku's better than Masuaku, really, at Inter Milan. Their fans should be supporting him. And I tell you what, I bet he feels very isolated out. And I bet he wishes he wasn't there. I bet he wishes he could come home to England. Well, England's not home, whatever. Go home to Belgium, whatever. Not good, mate.
I think it's about education, though, because that letter from the Inter Milan club or whatever, basically saying it's a sign of respect or something. Basically trying to say that the monkey noises are a sign of respect to your ability and stuff. But the worst thing is, I think they believe that. I think they do generally think that is. I don't think the letter they sent to Lukaku, I don't think they're lying. I don't think they're saying that as sort of we've got to do something, so let's do that. Because if they were trying to cover it up or something, that's the worst thing you could do, is try and justify it. So I don't think they are trying to cover it up. I think they're trying to say, this is just what happens. And I think that they believe that is almost normal. I think they don't see anything wrong with it. I think what we see
I
as racism,
agree, but they do believe it's wrong. They know it's wrong. So they don't believe it's wrong, but they know it's frowned upon, if that makes sense. So they probably do believe that, and they are undoubtedly racist by doing it. But they definitely know that they're not allowed to do it, and I think that's the thing, to know that you're not allowed to do it and then to still do it anyway is definitely sticking two fingers up. It's a difficult one, and you say about education, I do think so. But I think there are a certain number of people that just believe that. Even if you educate them, they're still going to say, nah.
Yeah, of course.
You
Of
know
course.
what I mean?
At the end of the day, you can say that about anything, not just racism. You can say that about anything, whether it's drugs, whether it's crime, whether it's knives and stuff. They've all had their education, but it still happens, doesn't it? But I do think while they're getting piss poor penalties, they're not going to do anything about it, are they? If I was doing something I shouldn't do, and someone was saying, "Oh, don't do that again," or "You're going to get a 10-minute ban from Netflix," something, I would do it again. But if someone come round my door and said, "Do that again, you're going to jail," I would soon stop. So I think if you start up the punishment, they might then learn. But while they're not even getting wrapped on the knuckles. So did you see Antonio's quote when he said about how someone got banned £10,000, someone got fined 10,000 for racism, but yet Stokes got 20 grand for shouting at a drug skeezer, and someone got Leeds got fined 30 grand for spying on training from a public path. And he was saying, so what's racism is lower down than these two things, and it's bang on. That's in our own country. That's in England as well. That's got nothing to do with Italy. That's in our country, our FA, and even they are underpricing. I say underpricing. They're underpunishing racism. But over here, there's a more unacceptable stigma for social media with racism, because if you say something racist on social media, that you get hounded. The Scott Brown video. Did you see that this week?
Oh, it was a shocker.
Yeah,
Geo, I think that geezer is a knobhead. I can't stand the way he plays football. I see him, he goads people, he whines. But I've spoken about it before, I do not like Scott Brown. That is to do that, to say that, to try and hurt someone at his very heart on a wound that's so raw. There's something very wrong with a geezer that said that. Very, very wrong.
Yeah, but as soon as he said it, the guy holding the phone, you assume is a Rangers fan as well, says something like, "Oh, you cut that out" or something. The people around him, his own fans, said, "Hey,
it polices itself."
Yeah. You don't do that, mate. And when the Mo Salah thing with West Ham, remember when that video came out of him?
Yeah.
The video, West Ham fans said, "Hang on a minute, this isn't right. Whoever said this or done that, it's not right." But over in Italy, there's none of that. They say, and the guy next to you joins in. So I think there needs to be a change of mindset as to what's acceptable, what's unacceptable, and almost peer pressure, like changing the mind through peer pressure. I don't think there's any peer pressure over there. Whereas over here, if you do or say something wrong, you get found out pretty quick, and you get, to an extent, digitally bullied off the back of it. And you could say it's justified, but you do get this guy the Scott Brown guy, for example, would have had to delete all his social media and stuff.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
You've got it. He would have been ashamed. He would have been sat there. He's apologised to Scott Brown already. Apparently, he was a kid. I think he was only like 15. So he would have had to delete all his social media and stuff, and he would be punished. But over there, there's just no punishment. There's no social wrongness in it and stuff. And I do think that letter, they maybe they do know it's wrong, but I do think they also believe what they wrote, in the sense that it's a sign of respect. And I do think they believe that they think you're such a good player, they had to make monkey noises to try and put you off. And while it's wrong, they also think that that's why they've done it. And it's just a shame.
I don't think people quite understand. And this is the thing about racism. I don't think people. I don't know, I've even said this online before. My aunt is black. Well, she was, bless her. She died a year and a half ago. She's from Zimbabwe, and I've got two mixed race cousins, and I've I've just seen how sad it makes them, and I think that's the thing. It's not anger, it's not anything else, and I just wonder, these people you talk about in Italy. I just wonder if they could see how thoroughly shit it makes people feel. I think it's an easy thing to shout something from the other side of an advertising hoarding when there's no personal thing. I just wonder if they'd say that up close to somebody. I don't mean about it getting violent. I don't mean that someone hitting them back, but I just wonder if they would almost see the sorrow in their face, the sadness alive, and actually, just to think that you can upset someone that much. I don't actually think they're confronted with it, because I think here's the society thing in it. I think it is obviously predominantly white or whatever. In some of these countries, a lot of Eastern European countries like that as well, of course. So they don't almost get to see that. Maybe they don't have a series of black friends or anyone that's not white in the family or something like that. It's hard. It's difficult, Joe. We got by inherently we got there's we got two of us here, two white fellas talking about what is racism, and a fella in the corner who looks, he's just changed. There's even a white fella in the corner. It's three white fellas. James, you and me. He's not saying a lot. He's dodgy, isn't he? He's got nothing. I've got a lot to say on the subject, old James. There, I've got to say. But yeah, so it's hard because obviously we're talking about it, but I do wonder if it's so detached, and I think you could possibly educate people as much as you like in these countries, and yet still, if they don't know any black people and they don't come into contact with any of them, are they really going to understand how much it hurts? Probably not.
Anyway, we'll end it there. What a depressing end to the video.
I know. Well, I tell you what. Oh, James seems pleased though. He's celebrating something. Maybe it's the 10,408 subscribers that suddenly we were only on 4,000 subscribers earlier.
I was in a hurry. All right, I was trying to get my bet on. Do you know something though? Do you want to know the good news? I've been trying to look, but I think it just won. Can you see it?
Well, I can't see it. You're not showing me. Hold on. Oh, sorry. Oh, you're showing the screen, aren't you? Yeah. You're showing the YouTube. There. I can't. I'm waiting. I'm 30 seconds behind, mate. I'm like everyone else. I'm like the orphan Oliver with a bowl in my hand here, waiting to see what the news is.
I've just won 85 quid while we were doing this show.
On what?
So
I couldn't see it. It's not clear enough. What was the bet?
A bit goals, corners, and cards in 3 games, and they all had goals, corners, and cards essentially. So I'll show you on the webcam that you can see now. There you are. You can see that now. £83.
Well done. I think I might do an international ACCA this upcoming weekend. I'm going to do an international ACCA. 20p to £250,000.
Anyway, just quickly, on a positive note, we've got a video going up on the main channel tomorrow night. It's a little bit different. It's a quiz. We did a quiz in the summer. You weren't in it. You were observing, though, from behind the camera.
Drinking.
So in the summer we got quizzical. 2 teams of 3. I think there's 3 rounds. There might have been 4. I think there's only 3 rounds though. Various questions, all on West Ham. It's a West Ham quiz. You can play along at home. Get a pen and paper. Sit down. Push play. And jot down your answers and see how well you do compared to the other 2 teams. I can't remember what their team names were, but one of the team names was banned anyway. He was not getting that. So it'd be interesting if Charlie leaves it in or Charlie beeps it or what. I don't know. It was a naughty name anyway. So it'd be interesting to see. But any final topics, Gonzo, before we disappear? Very good. He was waiting for that one. Anyway, that's been Gonzo. I've been Geo. We've been Hammers Chat. We'll be back next week, possibly previewing the next round of weekend fixtures, and we might take a little glance back at the England games and the Scotland games. Can we do the Scotland games as well? Maybe. Please?
Oh, mate, we crack on. I already know Scotland have got 2 left backs. I'm ready. I know lots of stuff.
Robert Snodgrass is in the Scotland squad now.
What about McGinn? Jimmy McGinn from Aston Villa.
McTominay, Ryan Fraser. We know
Ryan Fraser. What about the geezer that scored the header for Sheffield United? The geezer that signed from Swansea.
Ollie McBurney.
Doogie McDougalson.
Ollie McBurney. Yes,
That's
him.
That's it. Oh, yes. I know lots. I know.
So we've got quite a lot of Premier League. We're playing Russia tomorrow night, and then on Monday we're playing Belgium. I'm not looking forward to that.
You need it.
Anyway, we're going to disappear. Catch you in a bit. Join us next week. Ta-da. Goodbye.